Hello and welcome to today's Discus presentation. My name is John Belchamber and today I'm going to be taking you through the Discus Style Card and some sales negotiation strategies. I am assuming that you've already know a little bit about the Style Card. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on DISC itself, but I'll briefly introduce the four key factors in the Style Card and then we'll go on to look at some Style Card usage in sales negotiation. So, our four factors that we look at in the Discus Style Card, you obviously will already know that there are more than four factors, but we're just touching on the four main factors today. The first of which is driver. The driver relates to the dominance disc factor and describes someone that's very direct and demanding in their approach. They're very highly motivated to succeed and competitive in their dealings with other people. So you'll recall that relates to the dominance factor, which is all about goals and power. Our next one relates to the influence disc factor, which is what we call the communicator in the Style Card. So this person is highly communicative and social, very friendly and outgoing with other people, and always feel at ease in strange company. Moving on, we're going to look at steadiness now, and we call it the planner in the Style Card. So describing someone who's patient and persistent, doesn't like change too much, and like to take their time and plan carefully before they take any actions. Our next one relating to compliance is the Analyst in the bottom left there of the Style Card, and describes someone as structured, organised. These individuals tend to follow rules whenever they can and are interested in precision and order. So as I said, if you need more background information on the Style Card, then I suggest you stop the video here and go and have a quick look, because we're going to move on now, assuming you're comfortable with those, and look at some of the negotiation styles we would use with each of the four key Style Card styles. So dealing with the driver, I guess what I'm going to give you are some do's and don'ts, and then a sales strategy for the area before we move on to some closing techniques. But the things you should always do with a driver is you must allow them to reach their own conclusions. Remember, they like to be in charge, they like to have power, so let them come to their own conclusions. Be very business-like, focus on results. Don't go off talking about the weather and what you did last weekend. Focus in on results and outcomes that you can help them achieve. Hand in hand with that is focusing on facts, not feelings. The driver makes their decisions based around facts, so they're not overly concerned about how people will feel about that. They just want to know if it will help them achieve their outcome. And don't be frightened to negotiate. You can expect them to want to negotiate. In fact, in your negotiation strategy, you should allow the fact that you need to let them feel that they have won. They like to exert their power and they like to achieve their goals. So you need to have some room there to make sure that they feel they've won the negotiation. So hand in hand with that is, what do we not do? Well, don't take too much time. Get in there quickly, give them the points, give them the bullet points as quickly as you can. Their time is precious to them and they'll be wanting to move on. So if you take too long, they'll drift off. Don't give them too much detail, especially if you're a high C or a high S. I know your temptation will be to give them a full report. They won't read it. Give them the executive summary at the front with the bullet points that's going to tell them how this will help them become more powerful and achieve their goals. Don't be bound by procedures. They're looking to get from A to B in the most direct way possible. So if there's too many rules and hurdles, they're not going to be too interested. And don't attempt to tell them what to do or overly direct their actions. Steer them in the right direction, okay, but remember they need to make the decision themselves. Remember, I guess, then, that the strategy overall is about acknowledging their status, giving them incentives, emphasising the personal advantages to them of the proposal that you're offering them. Moving on to the communicator. So the do's for the communicators, well, share opinions and talk through ideas. They do like to communicate. They want to build a rapport with you. So think through ideas. Remember, they're going to make their decisions based on how it's going to feel. So focus on how they feel about your proposals. Clearly acknowledge their contribution to the ideas. So, let them know that they're really helping you work through the process as well and what great ideas that they've come up with. And ultimately focus on building a positive relationship with them. Don't let them feel that for any reason it's a negative situation. What you don't want to do is present facts at the expense of feelings or fun. Make it a pleasurable experience. Don't just focus on detail because you'll lose them fairly quickly. and don't risk causing any rejection. Remember, rejection is their biggest fear. They're motivated by people liking them, so make sure that they feel comfortable and happy, and it's a positive situation. Don't put them in a position where they may lose respect. They're looking for a solution where the maximum amount of people are going to think they're a great person by using whatever it is or doing whatever it is that you'd like them to do. So don't put them in a situation where that may happen. And it's probably best not to directly disagree or disapprove with what they're saying. That could be seen as rejection by you or them, and it's going to put you back as far as achieving your goals. Your goals will be. So basically, the strategy here is build a friendly and informal relationship. Show them how the proposal is going to make them highly popular with other people, and it will also help them avoid antagonism or undue pressure. The planner. Well, when we're talking with the planner, what we need to do is use questions, probe for feedback, and listen. Ask them questions rather than telling them. Show a real genuine interest in how they feel, what their thoughts are about a particular situation. Remember, they are also about feelings and people, but they're more receptive, so they will consider what they want to do. Provide support for their ideas and suggestions, and show them how you're going to support them if this happens. Don't let them feel that they're just going to be left on their own. And be ready to offer guarantees to underpin what you're about to do. Bear in mind that the planners don't like change, so you'll probably need to be prepared to show them how other people are using this, that there is a precedent and it's actually going to improve what they're already doing. And it's a good idea to help them see why they might want to change in the first place because of that desire to maintain the status quo. So what you mustn't do is don't move forward too quickly. Take your time with them. Be prepared to listen, ask more questions, help them feel comfortable with what it is that you're negotiating on. Don't require urgent or unplanned changes. That's a fear. They like security. They like things to stay the same, so don't require unplanned changes. Don't create uncertainty or insecurity, and don't place them in a position that they're unsure about. Remember, they like to feel that they know where they're going, what they're doing, how they're going to do it. So avoid putting them a situation where they feel that it's uncertain. So basically, your strategy here is one we call promise. So building positive and trusting relationships, giving them tangible support to show how you're going to help them, show commitment and reassurance, show them how your proposal will contribute and improve things rather than change things. And the last tip, if you make a promise, live up to it. The planner is unlikely to forget if you let them down in any situation. The analyst, or high Cs, in essence, you need to be prepared to provide material in writing. They're going to want detail. They're going to want the time to look through the information and do some research. So be prepared to give them writing. They're not just going to take your word for it. Emphasize proof through facts and evidence. So for example, with DISC, usually find the analyst is always going to ask me for validation research studies, so I need to point them in that direction. And the same with your own. What shows that this works? What shows that this is better? Prove to me with facts and figures why your proposal is going to be an improvement. And also adopt a systematic and organised approach. They don't respond well to a sort of scatterbrained salesperson. They want to see that you're in control, you're organised, that you have a system, that you have a process, and that you follow it. So what you shouldn't do is don't leave out any facts or details. There's never enough information for the analyst. If you're not a big fan of detail, if you think you've got enough detail, it's probably best to give them more because it's unlikely to be enough. Don't be vague or show uncertainty. You need to come across as the authority in what you're talking about and have the credentials and the experience to back that up. And don't make assumptions without verifying the facts. So always double check, ask questions, find out the facts. Remember, their decisions will be made on facts, not feelings. So in essence, your strategy here is be prepared to answer a lot of questions, be prepared to handle objections fully, and don't evade or misdirect or avoid difficult questions. You really need to minimise or eliminate any risk in them moving forward with your proposal. It will take time. You will need to go back with lots of information. But once you've won the analyst over, then you're going to have a good customer for yourself. So briefly, some closing techniques. Well, looking at the driver, the key here is to be decisive. Ask for the sale. If you win them over quickly, a rapid sale is possible. However, so are rapid rejections, so ensure that you've made your case well. Get in there. They actually often won't give you the sale until you ask for it, so you really need to move in quickly. Another tip is also be prepared for them not to look as if they're not paying attention. You'll often find that the driver will be doing other things while you're talking to them. Doesn't mean they're not paying attention. Don't let it put you off. They are, but focus on the bullet points and the facts and ask for that sale. They'll tell you why you can't have it, and then you can move on to the next handling that objection. The communicator will basically be positive. Avoid any negative closing techniques. Build on the relationship before closing and remain positive throughout the negotiations. A tip here is that the communicator often takes quite a long time to make a decision on a sale because there are a lot of people they've got to check in with to make sure that if they go with your option, it's going to make them look good. So don't expect to walk in and close the sale straight away. Unless, of course, you happen to be able to show them straight away who they know or influential people that are using it. But even then, they're likely to want to check with them before they make the sale. Planner, key element, patience. Be patient, be willing to build a trusting relationship. Don't attempt to close before this is achieved, as it's likely to fail. So will using a strong closing technique. So you need to be willing to compromise. As I said, show the historical precedent for why what you're offering is actually going to improve life, not change it. And then last but not least, with your analyst, you need to take a very systematic approach. Thoroughly address all of their options before you attempt to close. Prevarication is typical, so be prepared to handle objections, particularly of a practical, technical, contractual nature, before successfully closing. Every I will need to be dotted and every T will need to be crossed. So that's a quick overview. I hope you've enjoyed that, and thank you very much indeed for your time. I really welcome your questions. So as I said, my name's John Belchamber. My contact details are on there. You can get me on Twitter or email, mobile phone if you want to call me. But please do send me any questions that you have about how DISC can help you and your teams improve. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Goodbye.